encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Purdue.
Hey, come on in today. Hey, let's get some motivation, some inspiration. Let's get fired up. Let's grab some little piece of nugget that can help us get through some trial times. Okay. And I'm always big on this. Pay it forward. Learn so you can get through, make it easier on your life, and help somebody next to you. Then 100 years from now, well, you probably won't get the same credit 100 years from now, but you know it's coming through that you're going to help someone years later. All right. Today, this is going to be fun here today. You can hear her laughing already. So she's what she considers herself to be happiness coach. And we could all use a coach that's happy and teach us some happiness. All right. She likes to help. She's a hippotherapist here. So we'll go from there. Up. But she empowers you to discover and attain the happiness you didn't know was possible. All right, let's go and get started here with this. And welcome to the show, Yvonne Trost.
Thank you so much for having me, James.
Oh.
Or should I call you Professor?
You can call me Pop.
Pop. All right, got it.
Of Perseverance.
Pop.
So, Pop. No, James is cool with me. I tell people don't get the doctor that I have because I can't write out a prescription. But if you need me to, I can drive you to your pharmacist. So that's as good as you're going to get with me on the doctorate. So from there. And the other little fun fact here, Popeye's restaurant, I was going by one of our, where I live, and I noticed that their lights were on. And they had the POP for Pop was lit up, but the word eyes wasn't lit up. And I had to pull over and take a picture. And I said, look, even Popeye supports Professor of Perseverance.
There you go. You can do a selfie, like a half thing in front of it.
I should have did a selfie. I just took
Maybe
it from
it's
my,
still out.
I'm in a wheelchair, so I just took it from my van. But yeah, I should have got somebody to take a picture of me right beside it. Maybe I can crop it in, right?
That's
with
right.
all that AI and
skills.
everything today. So, all right, Yvonne. Hey, appreciate you being here, and you're going to teach us some ways and your story and everything, the ways from your lows to happy, and then how you can help other people get happy.
Yeah, it's inside them. We just unlock it.
Ain't it a shame that a lot of people, I don't know, they had this happen. We all have it in us, but for a bunch of us, it's natural. It's there. And I know it's your upbringing, it's your experience in life, and things like that. But it's a shame when people lose that happiness, and they not that they're ashamed of hiring you to help them, but they need someone to get them back on that right track, because of whatever early in their life beat them down so bad.
Absolutely. And what I love about what we do at Limitless You is that it's not like traditional therapy where we hope you're with us for years and we just keep talking about things that bring you down and no drugs required, no plant medicine. It's
all right. Stop right
actually
there. With no
in you.
drugs, I'm not participating. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just kidding. All right, go ahead.
It's inside you, but we've been conditioned and told, no, it's got to be hard to find it. And you got to work hard and you got to find it outside of you and you got to look a certain way and you got to have a certain thing and you got to be in a certain relationship. And we're just so distracted with all the, I had a client of mine say, like, I got to stop shoulding all over myself. I said, yes, I love that. No
That's
more
right.
shoulding all
That's
over
right.
yourself.
We're our own worst critics.
Yeah, we are.
We still have that outside influence. You can't do this. You shouldn't do. Why would you want to do this? Or beating you down for whatever reason. But again, we're the ones that's listening and decide to accept that, or we're listening to ourselves too much.
Yeah, what is fascinating, the more I free myself and help other people free themselves, it's your subconscious mind, all those shoulds, right? And all those kind of critical things, your subconscious mind actually it's helping you. So the subconscious mind thinks that your problems and all your suffering and your shoulds and your criticism is better than the thing it fears is worse. And it's when we uncover what that fear is that we realize that what you fear is worse, you're actually creating. And it's usually some flavor of I'm not enough. I'm not pretty enough, handsome enough, successful enough, rich enough, safe enough, whatever it is. It's been conditioned in us to believe that we have to protect ourselves. Right? You probably know, you've talked to enough people. Children have two needs. I love, if you haven't heard of Dr. Gabor Mate, he's done a ton of research on this. And he says authenticity is one, James, and the second is attachment. And we know attachment, right? That one we know we die if we were an infant or a baby. But the first one, authenticity, like we're not taught that. Like I think I got asked what I wanted to be when I grew up in kindergarten. And then after that, it didn't matter, right? It was do all these things, be all these things, look like all these other people, because then you'll be safe, right? My parents loved me. They just didn't have a lot growing up. And so they did what they thought was best to keep me safe, where actually it ended up trapping me. And that's the story over and over and over again of anybody that's struggling. It just, the details are different, but we're trapping ourselves.
Yeah, so I read a story one time, and I'm sure it's more than just this times in this one story, that a teacher was asking the student, "What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do?" And then one kid said, "What do you want to do?" She says, "You will never get that. You need to do something different." Wait a minute, why ask him if you're going to bust him down and tell him you'll never get it?
I
And of course, he claims that because they're saying that years later, he was so determined to get that he ended up getting it. And I forgot exactly what it was. And it may have been a motivational point for this one, hearing that. But to me, why would a teacher or anybody, what do you want to do? No, you want to do that.
It's out of fear. And what I'd say is, although that might have been motivation for that person to get that thing or that status or that job or that career, whatever it was, they were trapped by it. I'm sure they did different things in their lives that caused them suffering. And then once they attained it, I've had clients like this. They had to do it to prove somebody wrong. And then the whole time they were miserable. And then they got to the thing, and the thing didn't really actually make them feel that much better. And to your introduction, the person's usually passed away. And it doesn't really matter. So desire isn't the problem. Wanting isn't the problem. What happens is when you become attached to the outcome and trapped in a certain definition of it, that you aren't living as your authentic self and you're not present. That becomes the problem.
Yeah.
And then that's when people turn to distractions, whether you drink too much, smoke too much, binge watch TV too much, eat too much, whatever it is you're doing too much of to distract yourself. You're distracting yourself because you don't feel enough, and you're influencing yourself to have that self-doubt by always looking outside of yourself rather than looking inside and learning, like, oh, what did I want to be when I grew up? Well, why was that? What did I enjoy? How might I take steps in my life to do that now? If you're listening and you're like, oh, well, when my kids go to college, or when I get this certain dollar amount, or when I get this promotion, then I'll start retiring, or then I'll do what I want. Please, please, please listen closely. You're wasting your life, and you only get this incarnation. You only get so much time, right? And I did that for 25 years. And it took me going through a terrible divorce and an unsafe marriage to wake up out of the social trance to realize I didn't have to do that thing to prove to anybody anything, or to feel safe or enough. Actually, by doing all those things, I never felt enough because I wasn't in alignment. And so many of us get caught in that trap.
Now, if you're talking about this, when you were growing up, did you have a high self-esteem? and then this marriage knocked you down, or were you already somewhat, unsure of yourself and lower self-esteem, and then got into it and then finally woke up?
Well, it depends upon if you're talking about the Yvonne that was perceived by everybody else, the conscious Yvonne or the subconscious Yvonne,
Oh, there you
right?
go. Yeah.
If you asked anybody, I was a very confident, somewhat aggressive, demanding child and young adult.
Hmm.
But I rushed into a marriage because I'm like, oh, it's time, right? Everybody else has been married. I did the career thing. And then I'm like, oh, well, now it's time to be married. And I didn't rush into it thinking I wasn't enough. I didn't rush into it thinking I'm consciously ignoring all these flags. In my mind, I was on track. I was checking the boxes, right? It wasn't until all the boxes starting to get unchecked faster than I could even imagine that I woke up and I did the work, or I call it self-exploration. I hate to think of it as work.
Hmm.
But through a friend, I found yoga, and then I found meditation, and then I found manifesting, and then I think I manifested my current life partner, and he was learning how to do hypnotherapy, and I'm like, wow, that's fascinating. James, I always wanted to go back to school to be a psychologist, but I thought, well, I can't do that. I looked
Hmm.
into it. It takes too much time, too much money, and then I could never make up the money. And it was all about, do you have enough money to survive? Can you send your kids to school? Can you retire? Like all the things I was taught innocently so, that I just like put the real Yvonne on hold. So to answer your question, all along, I probably wasn't confident enough, but it's the same side of a different side of the same coin. I tell people, it's like, you might have people that have low self-esteem and they do something like that and then they wake up. Or you might have somebody that, and that's a people pleaser kind of thing.
Hmm.
The same type of challenge can look completely different. It can be a very confident, almost somebody that people think doesn't care about other people, right? And that's just the other side of the coin, where instead of like feeling like, oh, I'm not confident, I'll get rejected, they're like, well, I'm going to reject everybody else first. I'm going to protect myself first, and that'll keep me safe. But the core of it is the same. You don't feel enough. You don't feel safe. You don't feel accepted or loved enough being your authentic self, because we're not taught how to. Like, you're a professor. Did you get human being 101, 201, 301, 401 in grade school or from your parents?
No, I just learned as the life went on to play the game,
Yeah.
okay, to get through, whatever's going on at that time. And I'm like self-conscious. It'll do a big world do on you if you don't watch out. Yeah, like you said,
Absolutely.
it I go back to believing that we're conditioned to be negative. As a baby, we learn to whine and cry when we're hungry. Uh, so then we get something to eat. We're wet, we whine and cry. So we learn as a child. We whine and cry. We do something bad, we get something good in
Yeah.
response. And
Yeah.
so then now we spend the rest of our life trying to get out of that,
Yeah.
negativity from it, because we can feed ourselves and change ourselves now. We don't need to
Yeah.
whine and cry over stuff. Now, not to say whining and crying and then other issues, a tragedy or something like it, that's understandable. But if we're conditioned and we have to spend the rest of our life to get out of it.
Absolutely. And there's more than just that, it unfortunately goes on and on and on for a lot of people. And if you're listening and you're from the US, right? Like, our school system is similar. Like, we get graded, and then you have all these other things, and you're always being measured against something outside of yourself. It's not like, let me get to know this kid. I mean, there are some really good schools. Um, but a lot of them are like command and control, because that's what we have to do, they think, for survival. And that's how we were actually raised. I was raised command and control. And my parents even said, get a command and control of your kids, like going through the divorce, it was pretty rough. But what happens is children are narcissists, and that's how they are, not like narcissists in a bad way. They think everything's about them. So if the environment's awesome, it's about them. If the environment's bad, if mom and daddy get divorced, it's their fault. If mommy's not happy, it's their fault. If dad's angry, it's their fault. Whether they consciously know it or not, subconsciously, children believe that it's because of them. And then we're conditioned to behave in a certain way, right? So that we don't get kicked out of the tribe, because we know if we get kicked out of the tribe, we'll die, right? And then that's the additional conditioning to like the whining and the crying. We just aren't even conscious of it because we're so used to it. And it's not until different people kind of, I say, wake up from the social trance and start pausing and thinking and then sharing like, oh, well, how might that shape somebody? Like, for example, I got this email from my son's principal, and she's like, we're doing a hall sweep where we shut all the doors and then we sweep up the kids that are late, and then they have consequences.
Mm,
It made me have a flashback of, okay, so basically they're saying we're sweeping up the dirt. Like,
yeah,
you're dirt if you're not in class on time, you're dirt.
yeah.
When I grew up, James, the funniest thing, I thought it was normal, but then I tell people, like, that's crazy. If you didn't clean your entire plate at lunch,
Oh, yeah.
you were called a dirty. And the cleans got dismissed first and got to go to recess. And you were a dirty and you missed half your recess. Like, what kind of messaging is that sending to kids? And then I wondered why I could never not finish everything on my plate.
Well, also, the times you're talking like that is the old saying was, there's other people in other countries that are starving and you're leaving this food behind to waste. And,
Yeah.
putting the guilt trip on you, like the doing, the dirty, as well. And so,
Yeah. And
wow.
we've been, unfortunately, and even if you look at all the books that I read when my kids were little, now I didn't know back then, because everybody was doing, it was all about the stick and punishment and control and fear and guilt, like you said. Shame is how people got motivated, right? That doesn't work. That's low vibrational energy. That's why we have so many people on, that need a lot of help. And like I said, my program doesn't need medicine, but that's what most people have to go to. And then that causes other side effects.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't normally watch the news or TV at all. And where was I? I was at a restaurant and it was on. I don't even know if they were watching any shows because it was all of these prescription things. And then it said, oh, and it may cause like all these things that seemed a lot
Yeah,
worse
yeah,
than the thing that
yeah.
they were taking it for. So if you're listening, know that what is normal, what you see, what you hear, isn't necessarily healthy. And it isn't your only option. I did what I thought I had to do because all I knew, I grew up in a town of 2,300. Like, no
Oh, wow.
diversity, no culture, in the middle of
Yeah.
cornfields. And there wasn't really internet back then. There was, like in some places, but you only knew what you were told. And who was doing the telling only knew what they were told. Right? And now we
Yeah.
have the opposite problem where there's all this stuff. There's too much information
Oh, there's too much,
and you don't
too
know what's
easy to
real.
grab for these kids.
You don't know what's real as a
Yeah.
child or as an adult, right? Like, even if you want to try and learn something healthy, you're like, well, this one says one thing, this one says the complete opposite. So if you're listening, don't just blindly listen to me or anybody else or ChatGPT or anything. Take it, test it in your life. Experiment, see what happens for you. You are a unique human being, right? James is different than me. I can't be a good James. James can't be a good Yvonne. You have to discover who the heck you are, and nobody can tell you that. You have to live and be. And that's what I help people do. Like, we put on all these masks, all these shouldn't all over ourselves, right?
Oh,
I should
yeah.
be this. I should look like this. I should have this title. I should have this money. Stop shouldn't all over yourself and start connecting. So James will share some things with you. We have a free heart-mind coherence meditation that I want you to try. Just try it. It's for free. It's on YouTube. There'll be links in the show notes, but start connecting to your heart. And if that sounds super weird for you, like, just try it. You don't even have to tell anybody. Just try it.
That's right. Oh,
My partner and I, we walk our talk, and we want to share this with the world so that you guys can find the freedom too and realize, oh my gosh, you've been locking yourself in your own emotional prison and you didn't even know it.
oh,
Like I was
oh,
telling James, like, I didn't know. I thought I had a great childhood. I thought I was successful. I was checking all the boxes. I didn't know until the
and
universe
the
showed
boxes
me.
fell down on top of you.
Yeah, how to get hit over the head pretty hard
Them pile of
to wake up.
boxes.
Yeah,
Um,
but you can you can figure it
I'm
out.
like you got to be able to figure out, and it takes more people a little longer than others. But once you figure out what you really want to do and how you really want to be, what makes you happy and everything like that, life's a little bit easier. I mean, it ain't you're still going to have some times, but it's a little bit easier than you trying to please and be everybody else you think they want you to be.
Absolutely. I was just speaking to a client today. It is a guaranteed lose-lose if you try and please somebody else by not being you. Number one, you lose because you're not yourself and you're not doing what you want. And they're like, well, isn't that selfish? No, it's selfish not to, because they also lose.
Amen, sister.
They also
Sometimes you
lose.
sometimes you have to be selfish then think about yourself, because if you're not healthy enough and if you can't do what you, then how are you going to help anybody else around you? You know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And
So
if
you
James, if
sometimes
somebody's
you
like,
have to be selfish.
if somebody's like, well, I think James is selfish and he's not making me happy. James can't make you happy. I can't make you happy. You choose the meaning you give every experience you have. James could be a trigger. I could be a trigger. Your wife, your husband, your children. There's triggers, no doubt. But what I will not, but, and what I
Hmm.
will say is once you do the self exploration and you feel yourself full of self love and you only give from your overflow, it does get easier and easier and easier, because then even the challenges, James, I now know are happening for me. I can get curious and I'm like, why does this challenge impact me? And then I learn something more about myself. And then I say, what opportunity can this challenge bring me? And then I find like those golden nuggets that you talked about that otherwise I would have just been crying and whining, like you're saying, like we were taught in the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah.
like, woe is me. Let go. So, three things. If you don't remember anything from this podcast today, remember these three things.
All right,
Unless
3 nuggets are coming. Here we
three
go.
nuggets. If you have fear and you're not in mortal danger, get curious. If you have judgment of yourself or somebody else, get curious. If you have self pity, get curious. So we want to get rid of, unless you're in mortal danger, that's my caveat, get rid of fear, judgment, and self pity. And you're like, Yvonne, how's that possible? Trust me, it is. Here's another little gold nugget, easy to remember. What's Einstein's energy equation, Professor? Do you remember?
I'm going with the MC square.
Yes. E equals MC squared. Everybody knows that mostly. If not, you can chat GPT it.
There you go. There you go.
Here's how to get the energy you want in your life so that you can get rid of those three things: judgment, fear, and self pity. This is the equation: mindful thinking raised to the power of compassion and curiosity. What does that mean? Mindful thinking, you need to breathe. You need to pause. You need to get out of fight or flight. If you go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/joy, there's a joy regenerator. It's free. It'll teach you how to do it. Pause and breathe. The compassion kicks in. Here's the life hack. James, even if you were making me super mad, you actually can't make me mad. What I can do, if you're listening and you're like, oh, so-and-so triggers me or so-and-so makes me mad, the life hack is looking at them like a 6-year-old. Most of us have adult bodies that are listening to this podcast, but we have the subconscious mind of a child. It usually is, most of the programs have been written that drive 95% of your life once you're 35. Most of those programs were written before you're 10 years old. So no, if somebody's not treating you in a loving way, It's the little them inside calling for love in the only way they know how. So that's the compassion piece.
Mm-hmm.
Find the interrupter. Have compassion for yourself and the other person. You weren't taught human being 101 to 401. You don't understand your mind, body, spirit connection yet. That's what I help you with. So reach out. You can do that. We'll learn more. The second thing is curiosity. Why is it triggering you? Why are they being triggered? It actually has nothing to do with the present moment and has nothing to do with the other person or people. And it has everything to do with how they feel about themselves and their environment. So, for an example, James, do you have anything that recently triggered you or kind of like ticked you off or that you had a little bit of a challenge or a low about and it stole some of your energy? Anything that you want to go through?
The other day, they didn't have my favorite banana split.
Okay.
No,
Or did
I'm
that?
kidding. I'm kidding about that. But here recent, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of these. I'm old, way older than you are, and I'm one of them now that I just try not to let things get me mad. I mean, it happened. Let's move on. Go learn from it. Don't let it happen again. Now,
Well, let's use an
it would
example.
take me. It'd take me a while to come up with something that wouldn't really trigger me lately. I don't know.
Let's use an example of somebody that you observed
Hmm.
that got upset. Have you observed anybody get upset lately? We talked about a pre-show. We talked about a story. Do you want to use that one?
Oh, it was one of them, but they got mad at me because I'm unprofessional.
Yeah.
Is yeah. I mean, yeah. Some just one of my wanted to be on my podcast. Somehow we didn't get hooked up right, and something happened, and she called me unprofessional, and I just commented. I never once said I was professional, but yeah. So, but
Yeah.
uh,
So if you look at that example, you triggered her. You made her upset in her mind. Probably what it really was the little 7-year-old in her that said, he doesn't think I'm important enough. He doesn't think I matter. He doesn't think I'm smart enough. Whatever it is,
mhm.
it triggered something. She gave meaning to your lack of following up a year later, right? She gave meaning to that. That wasn't you that did it. It wasn't even the time that passed. It was the meaning she gave it about herself. So if you're listening, I want you to try and walk this through, right? Think of a time that you were upset. Write down, why do you think you got upset? Usually it's going to be like, so-and-so did this, or this wasn't the way I wanted it. Whatever it is, don't judge yourself. Remember, we're getting rid of judgment. And don't be afraid either. And stop feeling sorry for yourself. Remember, get rid of all three.
Oh yeah.
And so just have some compassion. It's okay. It's okay that you got upset. It's a little 6-year-old or 7-year-old you trying to drive this human bus. By the way, I don't think we've cloned a human being, right, James?
Not that we openly confessing.
Yeah. So that what's the most complicated thing man's been able to make on this planet that you can think of, in your opinion? What's something really complicated?
You talking about cloning?
No, not cloning, something else. We've created something, or maybe cloning a sheep. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, sheep dollies, probably the most complex one that I can think of, and that was years ago.
Yeah.
Of
So
course,
let's go with that
it's
one.
all this nuclear warheads and stuff like that we're inventing that hopefully we'll never use.
Yeah, so think how complicated that is. Like, people have to go to school for a really, really long time. They have to study, have to do all this stuff. They get all this support and training to learn all these things. But a human being hasn't been created other than the way the creator designed us to do it. We don't
Mhm.
know how to do it. So that means we're the most complicated thing on the planet. But we don't get the training that we need.
Yeah, I forgot who it was in the movie, and it said, we didn't come with a manual.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So have compassion for yourself and for the other person. None of us came with a manual. Not only that, we're little 6, 7-year-old subconscious minds trying to drive something that doesn't even come with a manual. So break the pattern and know it's not about you. And it's not about the other person. It's not about the environment. It's not about the politics. It's not about any of that. It's about how you feel about yourself. And even you think you're competent, you think you had a good childhood, just like I thought. If you have any experiences of fear, judgment, or self-pity, and you're not in mortal danger, you have some really cool things to do. You have some self-exploration to do to unlock yourself, to achieve greater heights that make you even happier. That's why we changed our name of our company to Limitless You and our website Unlock Limitless You, because we believe everybody is limitless and we just need a little help getting unlocked. That's all.
I like we said a few minutes ago, write down what made you upset and everything. I think it would be important to keep, especially when you're trying to find yourself and improve yourself. Write down, keep a journal so you can go back and catch if there's a certain habit that's putting you there, something that's getting you out of what you're into. So
Oh, I
I,
love
I
that.
like what you said about writing. What made me think, keep a journal, because
Absolutely.
we're going to forget when the bad things happen when we get through it. And but if we can refresh our memory how we got through it, maybe we get through it a little easier. Go back and rereading. Ed Waters, hey my man, how you doing? Said Dr. James Purdue, a professor. Professor of Perseverance, you're a professional at being a real person. Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Ed, remember me a long time ago? I was on your podcast, and we need to get you on my podcast, Mr. Ed. All right, brother. Thank you for showing in. So, all right. So Yvonne, so yeah, I really believe that yeah, keeping a journal is really important because we're going to forget about stuff as a year goes by. But if we can go back and reread some of the stuff, and we go, really, I did get through that pretty good during that time,
Yeah.
and here's what I learned from it.
You know what? You made me think of something. I haven't put it on our website yet, but I have a tribe. I call my tribe. It's called the Limitless You Tribe. We have this connections where we meet every single week, twice a week to continue to grow, to do the human being 201, 301, 401. And one of the things that I built for them that I'll get out on our website in resources, because if you're like me, I can't read my own handwriting.
Oh, that's definitely me.
And I know sometimes I think you should still keep a journal. Like there's something about when you write, how it engages your mind. To what James you were saying that I love. If you haven't heard of it or done it, I did it professionally, and then I used to work for Accenture, an IT consulting company. And now I brought it to this practice in a different vein, but it's called a journey line. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
So I'm going to put something out there because again, the handwriting thing's a problem for me. So I just put it in a spreadsheet so you can just type it in. But to your point of patterns and remembrance. So if you think of a line, a journey line, it's like imagine your lifeline, birth to present day. Okay. And above the line is shiny, happy, shiny things, right?
Hey,
You felt
mine's
really,
Heine.
really good.
You said
Heiny,
the Heine is the happy. Yeah,
the
so there's
Heiny
mine.
strappy things.
There we go. All right.
You'll not forget that now.
That's right.
But keep it PG, people, if you're posting it.
There you go.
Above, or not.
Yeah, you don't want your children to come find it 50 years later when you're passed away and they're digging through. What mama keep here? What? Okay, yeah, PG.
Above the line are all the good things. Below the line are the things that were hard. And you plot them on the timeline and you say really, really good, kind of good, neutral, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then as you plot them, it puts them on a graph. And then you can look at the patterns to your point, James. Like,
Yeah,
what was happening when I was in my lows and what got me
yeah.
to my highs and how long was I in the high for and why was that? So often we're again shooting all over ourselves and trying to please everybody else and think what makes them happy. And then we think that's going to make us happy, but it actually doesn't sometimes, unless you really want to do it and aligns with your authenticity. You can look at that and you can be like, okay, now I understand it. Right? I saw in mine like external validation when I got it, when I didn't get it, at work, in relationships, right? And I gave away all my power to things outside of me to keep me above that happy line. until I did the exploration and I realized like, oh, I'm giving away my power. I can keep my power. The happiness is
Mhm.
inside of me. I get to let it shine how I want to and then attract. Stop chasing and attract that which is aligned to my authentic core and my purpose. It's a powerful tool. Just keep an eye out, or you can message me, unlocklimitlessyou.com. You can message us there. Just put journey line in the message, and I'll make sure that I let you know when we get it posted. I haven't posted it yet, but I'll do that because I think it's super
Yeah,
powerful to your
and I'll
point.
put these links up there. Now, I know you said you go to your website and there's a free ebook.
Well, so the ebook is it's not on the website yet. It is in the show notes. It'll be a
It'll be in the
URL.
show notes. Yes.
Yep. Ending and there'll be the success trap in there. So if you're like, oh, you said normal is not healthy. Well, how do you get healthy? So Brad Chandler is my partner at Limitless You. And we wrote this book to give you an idea of how did he move from chasing success and thinking safety was in money and status, right? As a real estate investor, to realizing that it was actually causing him all his troubles. Children with behavioral problems, he'll talk about that in there. He'll talks about his 2 divorces. He talks about losing, millions of dollars from mistakes driven by his ego. And so we show you different ways that you can start doing that self-exploration that James and I have been talking about in there. And there's links to tools that you can get for free to get started on that. As well as if you want to talk to me, you can go right now at unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz and figure out your way of being with yourself and with others that might be holding you back. And then you can book a call with me after that. And we can talk about, well, what's the next step? What are the opportunities? How might I become my limitless self and live my limitless life? Because it's possible. It's not, you don't have to wait till you retire. You don't have to wait till your next incarnation. You don't have to wait until you win the lottery. It's possible right now. And how do I know? Because I did it.
That's right.
I spent 25 years thinking, oh, well, when my kids are out of college or when I retire, or, it's not possible at all. Maybe next lifetime to
Well,
hitting.
if we keep putting it off and putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, well, eventually we're going to run out of time. So
Yeah.
the best time to change and especially getting happy is now.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to work it into what's going on now. So,
Absolutely. And no, it's not your fault. If you're like, yeah, I know
oh,
it.
exactly,
That's
exactly. It's
easier
not,
said than
yeah.
done, Yvonne. Um, Number one, don't say or think anything that you don't want to be true because your mind is listening. And your mind's job is to make everything you think or say true. So this is not just positive woo-woo talk. This is neuroscience. This is neuroplasticity. You are coding the pathways to attract the things that you don't want when you say them. So if you don't do anything else today from listening to this conversation, just don't say or think anything that you don't want to be true. And if you do, it's okay. Use EM=², catch yourself, and then correct yourself and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to practice this and just prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that your life doesn't start getting better. I challenge you. I hope that you try. And if you can prove me wrong, that's totally fine. I'm pretty confident you won't be able to, though.
There you go. Confidence. Get that confidence level. John Bentley, thank you for coming in. Great episode. Appreciate the authenticity from James and Yvonne. So
Hey,
John
John.
Bentley, he's the one. I'm gonna tell the story, John. He's the one that tagged me as Professor of Perseverance.
Oh,
So we
nice.
were in a National Speakers Association. We were at a meeting, and he was sitting behind me, and I heard him. He going, Professor of Perseverance. I didn't know he was talking to me. Professor of
Oh,
Perseverance. And finally goes, James. I turned around, hey, John, how's it going? He says, you're the Professor of Perseverance.
I love that.
I go, what? And he says, you have a doctorate degree, so you're a professor. And you want to teach people about persevering, Professor of Perseverance. John Bentley told you I'm going to steal that from you many moons ago, and we're still using it. Thank you, John.
That's
And
such a
Ed,
beautiful example of how you're not alone
oh,
and that open
just
yourself to support. I grew up thinking I had to know it all, do it all, be it all. And then I was a consultant, and that, you always thought,
Yeah.
like, if you said you needed help, or if you didn't know how to do something, that made you weak or not good enough. No, 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 no. Vulnerability is a superpower. We are a tribal species. I love that story, right? That's such a gift. Open yourself up to support
Yeah.
from those around you, and you'll be surprised what you get. Lots of
But
blessings.
that old saying, a community raised the children. And so even when you're an adult, you still need your tribe, a community to be around you to help. Again, I need to learn. I need to learn who said this before, because I always say, I don't remember who said this, but it was, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So same thing in life. If you're the only one that's thinks you got it all, you're definitely wrong. You
Yeah,
got other people that's putting input into your life, and you're giving them input to help them in their life.
yeah.
So,
And I'll,
hey,
I'll give
Ed
you I'll
Waters,
give
thank
you
you,
another
man, for
one.
coming in.
I'll give you another one that I don't know who said it, but it's so true. It's like the wisest man or woman in the
Hmm.
room is the one that knows they don't know it all,
There you go.
right? You always want to be learning. You always want to be growing. Like if you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Well, you don't want to stop growing, because when you stop growing, you might as well start dying. So anything that's happening for you, not to you, that helps you grow, see it as a gift. See it as a gift.
Yeah, I'm one of them that to ask for help. Some people, I know this one woman in particularly, she thinks you ask for help, it's a sign of weakness. To me, it's a sign of strength,
Hmm.
knowing you need help. And yeah, if you need help and you don't ask for it, you're only going to hurt yourself.
Absolutely.
And so the,
Absolutely.
the positive and the power of knowing your weakness to ask for help, to me, that's a blessing in itself.
Absolutely. And that allows other people to be safe to ask for help too, because they probably have the same limiting belief that you do, right?
And yeah, and they're afraid to ask for it because I don't know, maybe they brought up you don't ask. I don't know, but yeah, to me, it's a strength to be able to ask people to help you, and a lot of people want to help. They just don't know how to if they're not told what to do or given the what you need.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yvonne, you're a powerful woman. I appreciate you coming in and sharing uh, some good nuggets for us to be able to use in the future to get us through. And so, um, yeah, you're powerful. You're
Thank
what
you.
you're what I tell other people. You're all right. So,
That's good
all
to
right.
know.
So, go ahead. I know you mentioned a few times, but other social medias, how they can get hold of you. Put your website out again. Anything you want to mention?
Yeah, I would just say, guys, don't wait. Don't wait to like unlock limitless you. That's how you can remember how to find us. That's our name on all the social media, Unlock Limitless You. You can go to our website, unlocklimitlessyou.com. And then also, if you're interested, we have a podcast called How to Be Happier for Entrepreneurs, where we do this kind of thing. And we bring people that are in our space of perseverance and healing to give you additional tools in your tool belt so that you have a healthy tool belt, right? That helps you explore life with happiness and joy versus an unhealthy tool belt that makes you just feel like you have to survive. We're all about the thrive.
That's right. So, all right. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'll get these again these links and stuff put in the show notes. So, one last thing here, Yvonne, before we go, if people hurting and struggling, if you can give us a positive, powerful message helping them through today, it'd be a blessing.
Absolutely. If you're listening and you're having a hard time or you're suffering, first and foremost, know you're not alone. You don't have to go it alone. You don't have to figure it out alone. There are people that want to help and support you and free you so that you can support yourself. I know sometimes it's hard. Maybe you can't imagine it, Maybe you feel like you need to be in therapy for years, or you need to be on medication for years, or maybe you just think it's not possible for you. Please don't wait. Prove me wrong. Give me a call. I want to help you free yourself, right? And it doesn't take years. It doesn't even take months. Just go to unlocklimitlessyou.com/call, and we can talk about what you're up against and how to free you from it so that you can soar above it.
Remember, you're the most important person in your life. Not to say you're not helping and being especially a mother, a single mother raised me and my brothers, and so especially if you're a single parent going through this, again, you're the most important person to them, and you've got to be able to take care of yourself to be able to take care of everybody else that you want to help out.
That's so true. I actually am a single mom of 2 boys, and what I had to learn the hard way is self-health is not selfish. It's
Exactly. Yep.
it's
We
selfish
mentioned
to not do it,
yeah,
because
yeah,
then
we
you
mentioned that
can't be your
earlier.
best
Yeah.
self.
Yep. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. So yep. And if people say you're being selfish, then be selfish to take care of yourself. And if they want to continue saying it. All right, Yvonne, thank you for being here. Appreciate all you done. Everybody else, hey, share this to someone you know that can use some little help and advice, some gold nuggets. John, Ed, thank you for coming in. Everybody else, do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.